Well, with more on the case against Dominique Strauss-Kahn, we bring in our good friend Doug Burns. He is a former federal prosecutor. He now runs his own practice. So, Doug, always glad to see you here on the Inside Track. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate
Sarah
it.
said it. His job is up for grabs. But I want to focus on something that's a little bit more timely for today.
Sure.
We expect he's going to make a bid to be released from jail.
Yes.
What are the chances that he gets what he wants?
Well, they're saying that they're going to post $1 million bail, which is a significant bail. But more importantly, they're saying he's going to be on electronic monitoring with a bracelet, live with his daughter, by the way, in New York City, in Manhattan.
But is she considered a custodian? I mean, it's his child.
No, it's really the bracelet. And I have a sneaking suspicion, Deirdre, that they're going to watch the front door fairly closely.
Yeah.
No, you know, I mean, seriously. But joking aside, and give up his U.S. passport and his diplomatic passport. And the fact of the matter is, honestly, under those terms, that would seem to assure his presence.
So if they offer all of that,
right,
you think he will be granted bail?
Well, one other important point is a lot of times prosecutors and defense lawyers agree on a bail package, they call it, and they get up, they say, Your Honor, we've agreed on a package. These are the terms. In such a high-profile case as this, that's really important because it kind of takes the judge off the hook, if you follow me. It's not the judge's decision. It's like, okay, I'm willing to support the package that both sides are presenting to me. And the only reason I mentioned that, Deirdre, is because I did see it sounded like they may be coming to some consensual agreement to release him.
All right. Now, what about him waiving extradition?
Yeah.
This is the political football that you and I spoke about last week.
It's a huge political football. Normally what happens is, let's say, worst case scenario, certainly for the New York County District Attorney's Office, he ends up physically in France. Okay, well, the U.S. would put in an extradition request through the State Department.
But France doesn't do that.
Okay, but it's not so much that. There is an extradition treaty. That's where people got it wrong. So let me explain it to you. But there's a clause in there saying that France doesn't have to. They can discretionarily decline to give up their own citizens. By the way, that's common in virtually every extradition treaty. But, okay, so I read his affidavit. He says, I will waive all extradition proceedings A to Z. But there's some very tricky international law contingencies because it's the government who makes the decision, not necessarily him, right? So in other words, let's say he's back in France and they say, well, he's already waived extradition, but the French government turns around and says, well, we're not giving him up. That's point one. Point two is if he changes his mind and reneges on it, which is a possibility. And then point three is what if he ended up in a country with no extradition treaty with the United States? So you described it perfectly. It's a political football, A to Z. But joke, you know, I don't see him as a risk of flight under these conditions. I do not think he'll be able, actually, to leave New York City. Seriously.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. Doug Burns joining us there, former federal prosecutor, a friend of ours here on the Inside Track. He runs his own private practice.